Hi guys, I hope we're all doing well today. And the question I have today is, can you enjoy life if you have nobody to share it with? And it's something that I've been thinking about for a few days because there's a lot of benefits of spending your life on your own, of doing things on your own. There are a good few benefits of that, and the benefits of doing things with friends are much more, or with family are much more. But I think to an extent, when you really go out to seek different opportunities, you go out to try different things, I think to an extent you can appreciate life on your own in a way where you won't be able to see it with a friend. And what I mean is that usually when we go out with friends or we do things with friends, we sort of expect to feel some sort of increase in dopamine. We are meant to be happy. We are meant to sort of enjoy the moment. We want to enjoy it. We want to feel good with the presence of each other's. But I feel like when you're alone, you can really appreciate things a lot more. Like it's more focused on how that thing makes you feel than how it would be if you were to do it with a friend. So, let's say for example you go to watch a movie. When you are with a friend, your main focus would be to ensure that both of you enjoy it. You know, you've both got your popcorn, you're laughing, you're enjoying the film, and the main focus really is to make sure that the other person's liking the film, especially when you're the one who picked it. But you don't really deep the film or the art itself to the best of your abilities because it's not your main focus. You know, obviously you want the film to be good, you want the film to give you like just a good feeling, but I feel like if you were to go by yourself, your main focus is your own pleasure. You're there for your own benefit. You could leave at any time. And when you have just sort of your perspective, you're just thinking about you and the film, you will be able to sort of just understand the message of the film a lot better. You will connect with it more. You will feel as if you feel comfortable. You feel like you're at peace. And it's really good, that feeling, because we live in a world that is just so fast paced. There are people everywhere and there's just always things going on, and so the word peace itself is not something that's that easy to experience because there's just always things going on. But when you're alone, well, not alone, but when you're by yourself in that cinema, focusing on that film and the emotions it brings to you, it brings that peace, it brings that warmth that we need in our lives. And so, from that perspective, I've always believed that doing things on your own will always allow you to see the beauty of art from a wider perspective. And that's not just going to the cinema, it's like going to a concert as well, because I remember it was earlier this year that I went to a concert by myself. And it was my first ever concert. I don't usually go to concerts, so it was my first ever concert. And if you hear the message in the back, please ignore it. My friend is just back. It's just and so annoying. Anyways, it was my first ever concert, and I went by myself. I went to see JD Cliff, and I don't think any of you guys will know who he is, but he's like a British rock star. His music's really good. You should check him out. But he makes really good music. But I went by myself. The tickets were like 20 quid, so it wasn't a lot. But I went by myself, and at first I did feel lonely, you know. We was just there waiting for the concert to start, so I was just having a drink, and I was just standing around by myself, and it felt awkward, you know. I almost felt like, I should have seen if one of my friends might have wanted to come. Should have went with one of my sisters or something like that. So I felt very lonely, you know. I felt like I shouldn't be here. But it wasn't until it started, the concert itself, that I was just immersed in like the beauty of the music itself, because it was just when I was in that moment and the song was just playing, it was just me focused on it. I was just like, just in it, you know. You can just feel it, that you can really just enjoy it when you're by yourself. You can sing as loud as you want, and not to say that you can't do that with a friend, of course you can, but I feel like when you're by yourself at a concert, you can enjoy it. In terms of internal feelings, you will feel a lot more enjoyment. And it's like, it's just weird, you know. It's something I can never really understand, is why I felt so good being by myself at a concert. And maybe it's because I've never went with anyone, and maybe because it was my first one. So if I were to go with a friend, maybe it would be a lot better, but I'm not too sure. But another scenario would also be going to a museum. I think, to be fair, I think anything related to art you can appreciate to the fullest when you're by yourself. Just to like lay that out, I genuinely believe that you will not know the full extent and the full beauty of art until you're by yourself, until it's just your mind and you get to focus in it and have your own opinions and thoughts about it. That's when I believe you can really appreciate art itself. And so, experiencing life on your own can have its benefits. It can allow you to see things from a bigger perspective. It can allow you to change the way you think. It might make you a better person. But I've always questioned, should life be shared, or is it an experience for yourself to live to the maximum? Because we all have our individual purposes. We are all here to make sure that we live our best life before we try to sort of fix things up for anyone else. And so I've always believed that, but obviously it's not to neglect the feelings of others. It's not to help others when they need it, of course, but it's to always put yourself first and to always do things that make you happy. So that's what I've been focused on. But then I've always wondered that when you do things with friends, it almost feels as if like you can't, I'm not sure how to word it, but it's just when you just do things with friends, anything, when you get to appreciate the beauty of life, or when you get to just do anything with friends and just share your life with them, it feels like the world almost feels as if it's just like a better place. I mean, it feels like happiness is more evolved in this situation when you're with your friends, because compared to when you're by yourself, you feel all the emotions, you feel like different moods, you go through different stages. But when you're with your friends, it's just straight happiness, it's just straight pleasure. And I've just always wondered how it's like that. Why do I experience this large level of happiness when I'm with a friend compared to when I do things by myself? And maybe it may just be the fact that they make me happy, their presence makes me happy, they say the things that make me happy. Maybe it could just simply be that. But then, if that's the case, then shouldn't we appreciate life with our friends all the time? Because I've always believed that life is about happiness. Life is always about trying to do what makes you happy and make other people happy. So then I started to think, shouldn't life just always be shared with friends and family? Shouldn't we always do things with other people? Because even though when you do things by yourself, you can appreciate the beauty of it, you can really feel it. But when you're with your friends, you feel that happiness, you feel that pleasure. And happiness is the emotion that keeps us going. It's the only emotion in which it really just keeps us up on our feet. And so, if we want to live life to the fullest, if we want to achieve great things, we have to experience happiness. And in order to experience a good amount of happiness, is to share your life. To share your life with friends or with family. So to answer my own question, can you enjoy life if you share it with no one? If you do things on your own? You can. You know, of course you can make yourself happy. You can do the things that make you happy, but can you enjoy it to the maximum? You know, can you really be like, oh, I loved this moment so much, and just only talk about how it made you feel and not how you got to laugh with your friend, or even get to reminisce on that moment with a friend, you know? Because when you appreciate things and when you live life by yourself and you just experience the beauty of life on your own, it's like, who do you share it with if you did it by yourself? You know, you can tell a friend, of course. You can share online, of course. But how can you just really like talk about specific moments, you know, specific times in which you experience like true happiness if it was just on your own? So like what I'm trying to say is that if you were to do those things with a friend, it can become a bigger staple of a memory compared to if you were to do it alone. So if you were to travel somewhere and you were to travel by yourself, it will, if you enjoy the moment, it will become a great memory. But if you add a friend to that picture, that memory expands. It becomes a moment in which it's like, it almost feels as if it's one of the best times of your life. And that's how I've sort of pictured it, because I've always felt like when I do things with my friends, I'm always like, this is like the best time of my life. You know, compared to when I do it on my own, I'll enjoy it, but can I really say to myself that this is the best time of my life if I'm by my own? So it's a hard question to answer, you know, and I think it's something that we should all consider. It's something we should all consider, and I don't know. I'm really deep in this, guys, because I have like I have like less than 3 friends, and the good things I like to do, I always just do it by myself. So now I'm really thinking, would I really enjoy life if I'm always doing these things on my own? Can I really say I live to the fullest if I'm always doing these things on my own? And as humans, we always crave connection. You know, it's in our blood. You know, from our ancestors, we've always craved connection with another human. We've always craved approval, understanding, and that genuine bond we've always wanted. And it's what we need as humans to keep us going, because you can't live your years in solitude. You can't live your I'm getting this mixed up now. You can't live your years just doing things on your own, because then once you appreciate the art of it, once you appreciate the beauty of doing all these things on your own, that there's still this one part of your heart that's just like, I've got to appreciate all this beauty and I've had no one to share it with. Like, just thinking of that itself, it feels, it's just such, it feels really sad, you know, because in that moment you will feel like you're on top of the world. In that moment you will appreciate it, you will love it, but not until you reminisce about it will you realize how lonely you really are. And it does suck, you know, it really does. But the thing we should all take into account is that it's not like we're going to experience, you know, happy moments and good memories by ourselves all the time. Obviously not. There is always time to build connection. There is always time to formulate new friendships. And so it's not like it's the end of the world if you always do things on your own. It's not the end of the world if you just appreciate being on your own, because there's always time for connection, and those who seek it will always receive it. And there's nothing to really worry about. You know, I worry about this a lot, of just not being able to appreciate the things I love with other people. But there is time, you know. As humans, we can't go too long without just doing things on our own. We're always going to need to do things with friends or family, just for that stability, just to feel as if we're seen, to feel as if we're cared about, because it's just what we want, you know, it's what we need as humans. And the annoying thing is that even though there is always time to find the right person, to be able to have friends and to enjoy life with them, finding the friends alone, I feel like, is hard. And I don't mean just friends in general, I mean the right one. Because when you're someone who overthinks a lot, when you're someone who is always focused on bettering themselves and trying to, make their life better for them and their family or whatever, the type of friends you pick will always be like something that's very important. And you will always want a friend that aligns with your perspective. You will always want a friend that sort of has the same hobbies as you or thinks like you. And I feel like because of the type of friends I would want in my life, that makes it hard for me to get any of them. And it's because I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's because we live in a world where it's just everyone's sheeps. Everyone is dressing the same. Everybody is listening to the same music. Everyone's putting on a personality that they believe will allow them to be perceived as friendly like, or be perceived as someone who would be nice to hang around with. And finding people who have that raw self-awareness of themselves, someone who doesn't have to formulate a personality or sort of just do things that they see online and act in a way where you can get everyone to like you, is very rare. And part of me hates how I always analyze people. I hate how when I'm talking to someone and we're getting along, but as soon as they say something that I disagree with, it's just like, no, not for me, mate, you're not my friend. And it annoys me sometimes, because obviously it's okay to have disagreements as friends, I'm sure we all do. But still, I just have such a tendency to always believe that if I'm going to enjoy my life, I want to spend it with the right people. I want to be surrounded by good souls, good people who care for others other than themselves. And the fact that finding people like that itself is hard is really a shame for me, because nowadays people are so mean. The world is so judgmental, and it really sucks. People are always judging, people are always laughing at other people, people are always staring. It's just how can you just live happily in a world that's so judgmental, in a world that's so built upon social media and technology, a world where judging others makes you feel comfortable? It's just hard, it really is hard to find those right friends and to enjoy life to the fullest when you can't find the right friends. And obviously you want to enjoy life, you want to appreciate the beauty of it, but the ability to appreciate the beauty of it and the ability to really experience it to the maximum is to experience it with the right people. And the problem alone is finding the right people. It's in this world, in the world that we live in now, it really isn't easy at all. And what also hates me is how I just always feel like I enjoy moments and experiences more when I'm by myself. So sometimes there are times where I do things with friends and I love it, but sometimes I just wish I was by myself, And it's just weird, I don't know, because I love having friends, I love doing with things with friends, but I'm so used to being on my own that doing things on my own gets me excited. Having to do it with someone else, it makes me feel a bit uneasy, it makes me question if I really want to do it. And I hate how I think like that, but that's just how it is, When you love doing things on your own, but you also crave to build memories with other people, it's hard, because what exactly can you do, And it's not like when you're in that moment with the person you wish you would have done it on your own. Sometimes for me it's like that, but mostly it's not, because I feel like the idea of doing things on your own is what makes me feel good. It's what makes me excited, because then I can appreciate it a lot. But when it comes to doing things with other people, I won't feel that excited. I will obviously not. I would literally just sometimes question it. Part of me will be excited, but if I were to do it by myself, I would be more excited. But it's not until I actually experience it with that person that then I realize, oh, I'm glad I did it with them because I actually really enjoyed it. So this false narrative, or it's just always the before that I always have problems with, but the after I always end up enjoying. So obviously this was a pretty long video. I was just low-key just venting to you guys, and it's given me an understanding. I will definitely watch this video again, but I hope we all understand that we are humans, and what is the point in life if you can't share it with anyone? Shared memories is very important. You can appreciate life on your own, of course, but can you appreciate it to the full extent? Can you make the most of it by your own? Probably not. So as someone who values being alone, someone who likes to do things on my own, always just try to remember that doing things with other people are just as important. I struggle with it myself, so it's hard for me to give any advice on that. But the ability to do things with other people will create everlasting memories than doing it on your own. And memories are what keep us going. Memories are what allow us to reflect upon the times that we were most happiest. And you will remember most of that experience you had with them if you did it with someone than if you did it by yourself. And yeah, it's a 20-minute video. It's pretty long, but I really wanted to vent. And if you watched until the end, just give yourself a very big high five, because the attention span you would need just to listen to me speak for 20 minutes must have not been easy. Obviously, I'm not the most good looking person, so obviously it's not something beautiful you can look at for 20 minutes, but I really do appreciate everybody who's watching this video. And I hope you know that if you are alone, you won't be forever, and good things are coming in life. You just have to be someone who is willing to find them. You can't expect it to come to you. You're going to have to go towards it. You're going to have to become that person who is willing to experience life on a bigger level. So thank you all for watching, and have a good morning, night, or evening. That was weird.